Hello everyone, this is Tracy, the Spellbound Artisan. Welcome and happy spooky season! Today's video centers around the iconic movie Carrie. This movie was produced in 1976 and it was directed by Brian De Palma. If you like what I do here, then click that subscribe button. I release at least one new video a week, so ring my bell and you'll be notified when a new video drops. Be sure to check the description where you can find all of my relevant links and more. Carrie was Stephen King's debut novel, published 50 years ago in 1974. It was originally a short story. Stephen King was inspired after he had read an article suggesting that instances of telekinesis had been observed in girls around the time of menstruation. Carrie was released to modest acclaim, and the book saw pretty decent sales. Then in 1976, the movie adaptation of Carrie was released. This movie starred Sissy Spacek and it was directed by Brian De Palma. Carrie, who attends Thomas Ewan High School in Chamberlain, Maine, is shocked by the arrival of her very first period while she is showering in the high school gym. Now, keep in mind, a lot of times, women or girls, they have their first period, early teens. Carrie was, I think, 16 or 17, so that's, a few years later than a lot of other girls. And she's so shocked by this, she believes that she is dying because nobody ever prepared her for this. That would be pretty scary if you didn't know anything about your body and all of a sudden you just have this great big red mess. You wouldn't know what to think either, right? But, the mean girls in Carrie's class, no consideration whatsoever. They aggressively torment her, and this group is led by a popular mean girl named Chris. The audience learns that Carrie's mother, her name is Margaret, is deranged and religious. And this is the reason why Carrie doesn't know anything about her own body, and it also seems like Margaret didn't know much about her own body either. Throughout the story, Carrie has flashes of telekinetic power, and these surface when she's angry or insulted. And Carrie is humiliated daily, both in at school and at home. The mean girls face the punishment of a week of boot camp style detention in the gym. Refusal to attend would result in suspension from school and banishment from the prom. While most of the girls take their punishment, Chris refuses to participate in this detention, so she is suspended and she cannot attend the prom. Now, Chris's friend, Sue Snell, is especially regretful over participating in the taunting and the cruelty, and she convinces her boyfriend Tommy to take Carrie to the prom, and she herself was going to skip the event. Now, Chris is furious. She and her boyfriend Billy, they decide to kill a pig, take its blood, and rig the bucket of pig's blood over the stage. And they even arrange for Carrie to be elected prom queen with false ballots. And this is so diabolical when you think about it. You're so determined to just publicly humiliate somebody who probably didn't even do anything to you. Because, let's face it, Carrie is not really, up until a certain point of the story, we don't really see her as a fighter. We see her as meek and timid and, just tries to stay out of everybody's way. But As anybody who has been picked on knows, the bullies don't care if you're leaving them alone. Okay? But this is just beyond, I feel like, to rig it to where the person you want to humiliate is going to win an election. And then you do this so you can pour a disgusting liquid all over them. And that is exactly what happens. When Carrie is crowned prom queen, she is publicly humiliated when Chris dumps a bucket of blood all over her while she is standing on the stage. Now, her mother had said, infamously, they're all going to laugh at you. And I think that the way that the movie was making this seem like, yes, they were laughing at her, but it wasn't malicious. It was more like a shocked laughter. And some people are just quiet. I mean, because you wouldn't know what to make of it either, right? I know I wouldn't. I think I would have gasped and been like, oh my God, why? So, but this is the final outrage. And this devastates Carrie so much that she orchestrates a scene of mass carnage using her powers. And she kills more or less everyone who attended the prom. And then she rampages through the town. She destroys everything in her path. And then after all of that, she goes home. She's seeking comfort from her mother. But instead, Margaret stabs Carrie. And the house is destroyed due to Carrie's powers. And mother and daughter die together. The night of Carrie's rampage was known as the Black Prom. And on that deadly night, Carrie used her powers to lock the gym with all of the students and all of her fellow students inside. She is able to activate the sprinkler system and she rips electric cables apart. She electrocutes some of the students and then she uses the sparking cables to set the gym on fire. And this utterly decimates the senior class of Thomas Ewan High School and the school itself. Carrie does escape from the gym, and upon noticing the coming firemen, she blows up the water system so they can't put out the fire. Carrie's destructive telekinetic wave would destroy the entire city on her way back home. I don't think that this is in the movie, but in the book, as the residents gathered outside their homes, Carrie used her powers to snap the surrounding power lines and electrocuted those standing in their yards. Her powers are so out of control that everyone can feel her emotions. And there are several parts in the book where people are being interviewed after the fact, state that they knew what she was feeling and thinking. And again, that's not really portrayed in the movie. But, Carrie's life for the most part is a total nightmare. Her classmates bully her. Her mother punishes her for everything she does. Her own mother can't accept that, having a period and growing breasts are natural occurrences. And remember that Carrie thought that she was dying when she received her first period, and she had no one to turn to, and in the end, her own mother betrayed her. It's an utterly tragic story. The book also makes it clear that the pig blood prank didn't just send Carrie over the edge all of a sudden. She'd been harboring violent revenge fantasies for years. Now, in the Stephen King universe, in modern times, Chamberlain, Maine became a ghost town. It was never rebuilt, and the town's inhabitants, pretty much lost their will to live there. So the survivors moved, and they're just trying to cope with the pain of surviving the Carrie White affair. And then the town becomes a tourist attraction for those who want to know more about the Black Prom. And since the damage is preserved, so is the history of that fatal night. So again, in the Stephen King universe, this town still exists as a damaged ghost town. Alright, everyone, if you've made it this far into the video, I so thank you for sticking around, watching the artwork, listening to me narrate the story a little bit. Have a happy October, everybody.